Hi all, in this video we'll continue showing how to set up Final Cut Pro for editing and color grading with Color Finality Pro. We'll be covering how to free up space on your hard drive without affecting your project, and 3 ways of working with log files. You might find this really helpful if you're just starting out, or thinking about adding color grading to your workflow. If you're watching and already have a good knowledge of grading, leave your own tips in the comments. What advice would you give? If you don't have Color Finality Pro, download the free 7-day trial today, link in the corner. Okay, in Final Cut Pro, let's create a new library to use in our example, and just rename the auto-generated event to make things clearer. Projects are added under Events. Before adding any clip to the timeline, let's set up the project settings. If you have a large project on your hands or an older computer, you might end up with clips stuttering or lagging in the viewer. We cover how to speed up the editing and playback experience by using proxies, optimized media, and manual rendering in the previous video. But these extra files just eat up space. So let's go step by step to see how we can reduce the project's footprint. After creating a library, you can review and set where the media, cache, and other project-related files are stored in Library Properties, Storage Locations. Make sure to select the library in the browser to see these settings in the inspector. At first, the media and cache files are kept in Library, all in one place, so if you know where your library is in the file system, you know that's where all your footage lives. But the important benefit of these location settings is that they make it possible to store your project files externally. Under the Media heading, you can choose the path for transcoded media. That's where original, optimized, and proxies will live. These are the files we saw how to enable in the previous video. They take up a lot of space, but now you know that you can store them anywhere you want. At the bottom of Library Properties, you get a readout of the storage used by the original and other files. In a bit, we'll show how these extra files can be safely deleted. Let's start by checking that we're not duplicating any original clips. Preferences, Import Settings. Last time we created optimized and proxy media during import, but now let's look at the 2 options under the Files heading at the top. The default is Copy Files to Library Storage Location. Here's how this can be useful. If you're using an external location, you can continue the work locally even after ejecting. When working with multiple external locations, cloud services, and are concerned about losing connection, if you want to copy the entire project with the original media to hand off to someone else, or to continue working on another computer. If you've got video clips already on your internal drive, you can switch to leaving the files in place to save space. Your media files remain where they were originally, and Final Cut will use these. You basically avoid having 2 of the same file on one disk. If you use external hard drives but don't keep them constantly plugged in, you can use proxy files. You can continue your work with the proxies even if the external location is offline, since these files remain inside the library by default. Just reconnect the external drive before sharing and exporting in full quality. Final Cut will replace them with their originals. Also in the previous video, we set background render to manual mode under playback. Rendering always leaves temporary files. We can remove all temporary files, proxies, and optimized media in several ways. Let's put a clip on the timeline. Just an example. Hit W or click this button in the top left of the timeline. Now add an effect so that the render file is created. Let's apply Color Finality Pro and adjust the image brightness. In the top left of the window you can check the state of the running processes, like rendering or sharing. If you turned on manual rendering, use Ctrl-Shift-R to render once. If it's in the default automatic mode, then you might just need to wait a bit for the rendering to finish. Don't move that mouse. Now that you've done a render and created optimized copies, at any point during the work you can select the library and go to File, Delete Generated Library Files. If you're running low on disk space but you must finish the project, then the best bet is to delete only those render files that are no longer in use. This should help clear some space. If the project is finished, but you still need to keep it around, just in case of more edits, then all render files can be removed. They are recreated as needed. Here you can also delete the proxy and optimized media folders. Final Cut Pro will just create them again next time you're working on the project. If you don't see the option to delete unused or all render files, make sure that you've selected the library in the browser. During the workflow, Final Cut Pro can create other files such as the result of changing clip speed or doing image stabilization. We'll cover these in another video. The generated files can also be accessed and deleted from Finder. No need to open Final Cut Pro. But since it's already open, left-click on the library and select Reveal in Finder. right-click on the icon, Show Package Contents, Event. Inside the Event folder, there are several folders with familiar names. One of them is for original media. It contains copies of clips or their aliases. If Leave Files in Place was turned on, these are just pointers to the actual clips. Alias files take up basically no space at all. Render files are also in the Event folder. This can be deleted. Final Cut Pro will make a new one next time it launches the project. Transcoded media. Proxy and optimized files are here. As with the render files, the entire folder can be deleted. Let's get back to Final Cut Pro. Now we don't have to worry about running out of space and can begin working on color correcting and grading high resolution and high bitrate video. If your video is in log, one of the first steps before doing any color correction and grading is to convert the log footage into a video color space. There are several ways to do this with Color Finale 2 Pro. To decide which method to use, it helps to know what format and camera were used during recording. If you don't know what camera and format your footage is in, one of the simplest ways to automatically bring it into a video color space is to simply pick Assume Log under Color Management. If you've got format and camera details for your footage, you can use the ACES workflow. Go to ACES in the Color Management section, Input Space, and select the format of the video, let's say S-Log3. Next, choose an output color space, for example Rec 2024 HDR or the good old Rec 709. If your format isn't in the ACES menu, then you can load a custom input LUT to convert your camera's log footage, for example, one acquired from the manufacturer. Or use one of the built-in LUTs in Color Finale 2 Pro. Go to the Layers panel, add a LUT layer and select the LUT from the gallery. These are the main and preferred ways of transforming footage into a video color space. Once you've done the conversion step, you can move on to color correction and grading. Open the waveform Numascope. The shortcut is Command 7. You can add other layers to work on the contrast and tone. For example, here we added color wheels. We have an in-depth 2-part tutorial on this classic color grading tool. Check it out. Using color wheels, we lower the shadows and raise the highlights. At this stage, always keeping an eye on the scope to keep within safe range. Note, add any new layers such as color wheels above the conversion LUT layer. The main exception to this is the log wheels tool, which needs to go below and should be used before, that is underneath, the conversion LUT layer. With the help of tools in Color Finale 2 Pro, you can convert log footage into a video color space manually. Using the options under color management is recommended, but to develop some creative ideas, you can apply the conversion manually for full control of the process. For this, we need to greatly increase the contrast. Just like before, we lower the shadows and increase the highlights, and add more saturation. Compare this result to converting the video into a video color space with a LUT. The colors are very similar, but the overall result is different. You can also use other tools, like RGB curves. Increase contrast with the RGB curve, and then again increase the saturation in the inspector. We also have a full video on this tool. See them all in our practical color grading playlist, link in the corner. Keep in mind to add any new grading layer to the top of the layers stack. Now you know how to free up space when working with your project and several approaches to working with log files using Color Finale 2 Pro. If you still have questions or you want to share your advice, please leave a comment. If you like this video, don't miss the next one. Like and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified about new releases. For more information about Color Finale, go to colorfinale.com. See you in the next video. Goodbye.